Welcome back to the watch list. It's time for Options Corner, where we analyze unusual options trades that we're seeing throughout the day. Real Trades. Tom White, host of Fast Market here on Schwab Network, has been taking a look and combing through. In fact, finding a bearish trade he wants to talk about pertaining to Nvidia. I just finished saying that if you were watching shows over the weekend or reading, you were hearing is the market overbought? Is Nvidia going for a correction? Is it going to the 50-day moving average? And so, what happens to Nvidia? Let's talk about what's going on and what you're seeing today. Tom White.
Yeah, Nicole, implied volatility levels really spiking to over the last couple sessions since it hit the all-time highs of about over $140 a share just last Thursday. Fell 4% on the week on that weakness that we saw Thursday afternoon into Friday. Now down another 5 to 6% today. It's off about 15% from those highs that we saw just last Thursday. So definitely pulling back here pretty sharply. If you look at some of the, every day it seems like we've got another price target hike. Rosenblatt last week put a price target to $200 on this one. Barron's had an article about him this weekend and basically saying, hey, if you like Nvidia, there's a bunch of other names, including Micron, Arista Networks, ARM Holdings, that might be better buys here just because of the spike that we've seen in the shares. Now they're still up over 140%. So far in 2024, so I don't think sentiment's turned that much, but probably a much-needed pullback or consolidation in the shares. Now, I mentioned that implied volatility levels were spiking on that. We've got an IV percentile rank of about 68% today, so this implied volatilities last week were down at 52-week lows in here as the stock continued to move to the upside. So a little bit of a reversal there. We're starting to see option premiums expand a little bit. A lot of calls trading today, so there's some bullish sentiment, but at the same time, one that stuck out to me was on the bearish side. And this was out in the July monthly options that expire on the 19th, so about 25 days to expiration. Traders were buying over 15,000 of the 120 strike puts for an average debit of about $6.50. So paying $6.50 on average, that takes your break even all the way down to $113.50 over the next 3.5 weeks. That's about 5% below the current share price in there. And I mentioned that implied volatility, you're going to be paying more for these directional options at this point. Now, this one I pointed out is a bearish trade. There's a lot of puts that traded today, about 1.5 times normal daily average volume that we've seen over the last week of trading. But we've seen massive volumes in Nvidia over the last week. So not surprising to see some people maybe hedging to the downside or maybe speculating to the downside that the stock can fall further.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them making all kinds, is this the end of Nvidia, or is this going to be like one of the other tech stocks we used to love, a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, I think. So we have to wait and see. But some great stuff there. Thank you for that. How about Teladoc, a name that was so big during the pandemic? We haven't spoken about Teladoc much lately.
Yeah, there's not much to get excited about. The stock's off over 50% so far in 2024. Getting a nice little pop today. And this is based on some commentary that they made at an American Diabetes Association scientific session that was taking place, where they were starting to talk about diabetes, Teladoc Health, their management program, the new data that they've shown, 3 times increase in engagement, leading to an additional reduction in A1C for members. They talked about the impact of them using AI, Nicole. The ability of AI to forecast is crucial for early detection and management of diabetes, more timely, personalized interventions. So you mentioned artificial intelligence, and you're typically going to see a bump in the stock. Shares were up over 11% at one point during the session, but this stock's been beaten up. We did get some positive commentary out of the analyst community recently saying, hey, it's bottomed out, but it doesn't seem like I don't know if this is a big trigger point for the upside in this one, just due to the fact that I think people are starting to go to doctors not using these programs. Some of the other healthcare companies, managed healthcare companies, have these type of products, but definitely some positive news that investors have been waiting a while for here in Teladoc, with the shares off over 50% this year. But I did see some bullish activity in here, real short-term positioning from options traders today in the June 28th weekly cycle. So just 4 days to expiration. The 11 strike calls They bought over 4,000 of those early on in the session, paid an average debit of about 25 cents. So not expensive options in a really low priced $10 stock here. The break even for these traders, $11.25 over the next 4 days. That's about 8% above the current share price in there, with call volume about 4 times normal daily average volume that we've seen over the last week of trading. So yeah, a much little needed reprieve for the bulls that want to be in Teladoc on this jump today. But yeah, this has been a big loser over the last couple of years.
And to your point, I mean, having sold off greatly since it was a hot stock.
Yeah.
How about IBM? Now that you're seeing something bullish too.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs came out and put a buy rating on them today. They initiated coverage, $200 price target. Now remember, just in March, this stock hit 199 bucks per share. That was an 11-year high for these shares, Nicole. And this was on the back of AI getting integrated across their platforms. They came out with the Watson X and generative AI. They're seeing strong growth there. The cross-sell that they're able to do with their enterprise clients, their hardware clients, that was really starting to look up. Now it's pulled back a little bit, still up about 7% so far this year. And up today on that note from Goldman Sachs, they said that IT spending constraints and macro pressures have not affected IBM at this point. And they're pivoting to longer-term growth. Remember, for about 5 to 7 years, IBM was kind of an unknown stock because it was flatlining across. You weren't making any money on it. But now that AI's come into focus here, they're focusing on that and trying to cross-sell it across their multiple silos of revenue generation. And I saw a bullish trade in here, unusual option activity. And it's kind of an interesting one because it's a spread, Nicole, where they went to the August 16th monthly cycle, so a couple months to expiration here. They bought 3,500 of the 175 strike calls in IBM. That's a bullish portion of this trade. And then against it, they sold 3,500 of the January 2025's, the 190 strike calls. So it's a $25 or $15 wide call diagonal to the upside. They paid a debit of only 60 cents because they're buying the near-term options in the August cycle and selling to offset some of the costs on that. They sold the January 190 call. 60-cent debit, your break even around 185. So this trader needs the stock to go above 185. That's where you're going to start turning profitable on this one. Call volume about 3 times normal daily average volume. The stock was up 3% at one point today, pulled back a little bit with the overall market kind of reversing. But this is definitely a longer dated outlook where you expect IBM to kind of rally into that August expiration. You want it above 185, but then at the same time, you offset some of the costs by selling those January 190 strike calls, which start to flatten out a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for all of that. I mean, it's interesting because the chart looks better now.
Yeah.
As you talk about a bullish chart, it's looking a little better as it's coming up. The momentum's more up after that big gap down on earnings. It's up about, what, 10 bucks off the most recent lows,
Yeah.
give or take. So it is making somewhat of a comeback of late. Thank you so much, Tom White. Nice to see you.
Thanks.
In Options Corner. We appreciate it.